Hi YouTube, my next door neighbor.net. What's up you guys? Tiffy Stacy here, back with another episode of Do You. And this one's going to be about following your dreams, and I think this is going to be a reoccurring topic of mine, since really I'm a big dreamer and I feel like I love seeing people living their dreams because it inspires me to live my own dreams and be in full pursuit of that. But I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. I'm not gonna have this long drawn out response before I actually get to the point. But let me get close up to the camera. I'm gonna be very honest with all of you. Be careful about who you tell your dreams to. And I say that because it takes one person to destroy anything that you aspire to be, or something that you want to do, or something that you dream of doing. And I'm living proof of that, actually. I mean, I've had people discourage me, and there's been times when I didn't do something because of that, but then there's been a lot of other incidents where I have pretty much like overridden anything that anybody said to me, and I've done it anyway. So I'm on both sides of the plate here. But you know, I always question when you go to someone and you tell them your dreams and you tell them what you aspire to be, and I always question what their motives are. Now, they may have good intentions by what they're telling you, you know, being realistic and all that. But we're living in a time right now where I believe anything's possible, you know. And my thing is, who are they to try to tell you? I mean, they're not God. God has a plan for everybody, I think. Now, whether or not they, you know, I don't know. I just feel like I would not take their advice. I mean, that's easier said than done. But to me, when they say be realistic, that to me is saying be unhappy. And I've been in enough instances where I've seen people who have done the right thing, went to school, you know, got a job, not necessarily what they want to do, but they did it because they had to, you know, provide for their family and make sure that was okay. And but they didn't get a chance to really live their dream because maybe somewhere down the line, somewhere within their life, somebody has told them, look, this is something you shouldn't be doing. Like, you shouldn't even pursue it, because maybe for them, they tried to pursue the same thing and they failed at it. They didn't accomplish it. And I actually have kind of a story to that. I basically, before I went to college, like when I was in high school, I wrote down, I just recently found this, I wrote down something in my journal that said, before I get out of school, I want to have an internship in New York. And I know that's probably like, oh, wow, that's like a really big dream. But no, it was my dream. I just felt like I needed that for some reason. So I didn't know how it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen at some point. And I had to, I guess, put myself in place, or get the things in my life in place to make those opportunities happen. So fast forward to spring 2009. I had a professor who was, he worked at CNN, and I thought this would be like the great opportunity to kind of get to know him. And since that was kind of like one of the places I was considering interning at in New York, and I went to him after class one day and I said, you know, I'm really thinking about applying for an internship at CNN, and I was wondering if maybe you can just kind of give me some advice, and you know, maybe check over my resume and like my cover letter, you know, you could check over it before I send it out. And since he would have a better idea since he worked for them. And he kind of gave me this look, like it was a blank stare. And he just kind of looked at me and he goes, well, I applied for them 3 times. And that wasn't the response I was looking for. I thought as a professor he was supposed to like encourage me. That's not the response I got. So I don't even remember how the rest of the conversation went. All I remember was that statement alone was basically him telling me, I applied for this I guess he got an intern position at one point before he started working for them, and he was basically saying to me, I applied 3 times. What makes you think you're so special that you'll get in there the first time you apply for them? That's what it basically was boiled down to me. And I mean, it sounds mean, but that's what it sounded like to me. So anyway, I basically was like, okay, maybe he's right. And I basically swept that under the rug, and I said, you know, I'm not going to even try. So fast forward to July of last year, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to apply for it, see where it goes. And, you know, it wouldn't hurt to try, you know, who cares what he says? And so I applied. I worked really, really hard on my cover letter and my resume, and it's just, I remember just slaving over that for like weeks. And so then I turned it in, and I prayed on, and I said, if this is meant to be, this will happen. And so I just felt positive about it, and I said, okay. And I forgot about it. Well, I didn't forget about it, but I just stopped thinking about it. And then flash forward to 3 weeks later, I ended up getting a phone call from one of the HR people at CNN, and she said that she was very interested in me, and they like really liked my resume, and it seemed like I had a lot going for me. So they told me they would let me know in a few weeks. So I'm like, oh, I had to wait for this for a couple more weeks. So I waited and I waited and I waited, and it was like the very last, that day before I was actually supposed to fly out. I was flying out back to Philly, where I was going to school at Temple, and for school for the fall semester. And I get a phone call early that morning, them telling me basically that they wanted me to be an intern for them in the fall. So it was just a really weird moment for me, because I was like, I can't believe this happened, and blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, a couple weeks later, I was back on campus, and I ended up seeing that same professor, and I told him, ran up to him, and I said, guess what? I was like, I got an internship at CNN, and he gave me another blank stare, and he didn't even congratulate me, which, I don't know. He had his own issues, I guess. But it just goes to show you that you cannot trust what somebody else tells you. You can't do that. You have to follow your heart, and you have to surround yourself with people who believe in you and think that you can do something. And I believe that a lot of people in my life, I feel like my friends, they definitely support me 100% in what I'm trying to do. And actually, I have another story to that. I worked with a lady that basically, she told me that if she wouldn't have had one person, this one particular person, I guess, in her life, discourage her, then she would have basically been in probably a different occupation than what she was in. And she said she wasn't unhappy, but she just said that if this one person wouldn't have said something to her, like trying to discourage her, she would have been in a different place in her life. And that always resonates with me, and I always think about that from time to time, because I feel like life is short. Why not live your dream? Why not do something that you love to do? So, I mean, that's all I have to really say about that. I hope this makes sense, and I hope I inspired you to do something, But actually, I kind of have some words that someone sent to me. Mr. Hollywood Chachi, I talked about him in my other video, and he had sent me something the other week, and I really liked what he said, and I feel like I had to share this with everybody, because I felt like he encouraged me basically from this. So this is what he said. Sometimes we enter into things that we think we have a purpose in. Many times too much arrogance, stubborn mind state, and foolery prevents us from our destination. Even more, self-doubt, fear, and paranoia can sometimes cloud our decisions and force us into failure. There is one thing that can save us in our times of striving. It's called inspiration. We all need to be inspired. Inspiration is the battery of success. Inspiration wears many faces. It can come in a form of a gesture, but mostly we are inspired by the power of words. Words bear power. Words can better a nation or destroy a civilization. Words can create tears of joy or manufacture tears of hurt. When we are blessed to come across people who inspire us, we must pay homage. This letter is for you, but it's also for all of those who live to inspire. So thanks all of you, and remember to do you and follow your dreams, and don't let anybody else tell you how to.